Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The time has come as Premier Boxing Champions presents the highly anticipated main event of the evening, brought to you by Bomb Squad Promotions and Queensberry Promotions in association with TGB Promotions, Dubella Entertainment, and Showtime. Sponsored by Corona Extra and Casa Noble Tequila. It's Wilder versus Fury for the heavyweight championship of the world. 12 rounds of boxing and a showdown of undefeated heavyweight giants for the WBC title. And now, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming first to the stage at this time. Standing at 6 feet 9 inches, his record is 27-0 with 19 knockouts. He is the lineal heavyweight world champion from Manchester, England. Please welcome the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, standing at 6 feet 7 inches. His record 40-0 with 39 big wins coming by way of knockout. He'll be making the 8th defense of his title. Here is the hard-hitting WBC heavyweight champion of the world from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring our fighters to the scale at this time for our main event of the evening. At this time, please welcome. He's England's former WBA, WBO, and IBF heavyweight champion of the world, the undefeated Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. 256.5 pounds for Tyson Fury, 256.5 pounds. And now to the scale, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the 2008 U.S. Olympian and bronze medal winner. He is the reigning and defending and undefeated WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder weighs in at a ready 212.5 pounds. 212.5 pounds for the undefeated WBC champion. And momentarily, we'll bring our fighters together for a very risky and should be interesting face-off for this, our main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. The last time they'll face each other before they seat each other in the center of the ring tomorrow night. It's the main event of the evening, 12 rounds for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Once again, Hall of Famer Steve Farhood, fine colleague at Showtime, is ready for our questions for both the champion Deontay Wilder and the lineal champion Tyson Fury.
All right, Deontay Wilder, thank you for joining us. I noticed that Tyson Fury was doing a lot of woofing there. You did not answer him. Is that your way of saying the talk is over, it's time to fight?
Talk is cheap. Tomorrow is time. Actions speak louder than words. So come tomorrow, I'm going to show everything. I get to release everything that's inside of me.
I guess you can't wait for that.
I cannot wait.
Let me ask you this. Do you view this fight as not only the most important of your career, but perhaps your most difficult?
It's definitely the most important, but definitely not the most difficult. I fought way tougher guys than him. My opponent last fight was way tougher than him. This is just another step to me getting to where I want to go. Like I said, there will be one champion, one face, one name. And he go by the name of Deontay Wilder.
Tell us exactly what's going to happen tomorrow night.
I'm going to knock him out.
Can we get a bomb squad?
Bomb squad!
Deontay, good luck. Thank you for taking a minute.
And with that, the official weigh-in is over here in Los Angeles in the shadows of the Staples Center, where tomorrow night, Deontay Wilder will face Tyson Fury in the main event for Wilder's coveted green WBC belt, both again undefeated, and Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion. I'm joined once again by Paulie Malignaggi, Brian Campbell. Guys, first of all, Fury is done talking. He's done a lot of talking throughout the Epic 3-City media tour, and even with us, Paulie, he felt tired, didn't want to come to the fighter meeting yesterday, and I give him that grace. He's sold this fight enough. Now, Deontay Wilder comes in at 212.5 pounds. Guys, against Ortiz, where he said he was suffering from the flu, people were alarmed that he weighed 214.75 pounds at the weigh-in. Any concern at all, Paulie, with the weight difference in this fight?
No, I mean, just from judging from the way Deontay's been talking all week, and he seems confident, he seems like he's feeling good and ready to go. I just think, it's just where his weight landed. When you're a heavyweight, you get in shape, you diet, and, I guess a lot of times it's just where your weight lands. I wouldn't put too much stock into what he weighed today. To me, it actually probably means that he trained very hard for the fight.
Well, we are in the land of the giants now, though, Brian. I mean, average heavyweights 240, 250. You have to go back to, believe it or not, George Foreman when he beat Joe Frazier in 1973. He weighed 217 pounds, a young Foreman. Fury, well documented, ballooned up to 400 pounds after he became the lineal heavyweight champion, has lost an incredible amount of weight, close to 150 pounds, has done it the right way, according to his young trainer, Ben Davison. What do you think about Tyson Fury's miraculous comeback?
Look, it's an incredible story in life terms, in advocacy terms. But that story is really only complete in boxing terms if he comes out here on Saturday night and wins the fight. I like the way he looked at 256 pounds. It's not the 246 he was 3 years ago against Vladimir Klitschko this week. But Fury said it himself leading up to this. That Tyson Fury's dead. This is a new fighter. I love the focus. I love the mentality. I love the aggression. Heck, I wanted to see them maybe go chin to chin. I want to see if any fireworks are going to happen a little bit early right here.
Speaking of chins, Paulie, Fury has shaved his beard, and Wilder's going to be looking to test it all night long. Is it oversimplifying to say that it comes down to Deontay Wilder's power and Tyson Fury's boxing acumen and fancy footwork?
I wouldn't say it's overstating it, but yeah, I don't think you should put a lot of stock into just those things, because then you're kind of making both guys one-dimensional. I think Deontay has good boxing skills. To me, he's got the best jab in the heavyweight division, and that makes you a very good boxer. I think Tyson's boxing ability is obviously very good because he's unorthodox and he throws off your timing. But I also wouldn't call Tyson a non-puncher. A guy that big hitting you is always going to test you, and in this weight class, the punches landing are always going to hurt you. I mean, let's face it, Deontay Wilder was out on his feet against Eric Molina. So I think Tyson Fury has the power to hurt Deontay Wilder as well. And I wouldn't say anybody has a bad chin. It's just when guys this big land, guys go down or guys get wobbled. So I think I wouldn't say it's overstating it, but if you just think it's the power of Deontay against the boxing of Tyson, you're kind of underestimating the rest of what these guys bring, and because these guys have more of an arsenal than that.
And I wouldn't say, look, I think there's two interesting things for Tyson Fury in this fight. The one part of it is a little disheartening. He could pitch a perfect game out there and still lose at any moment with one big right hand late. But number two, how he won that fight 3 years ago against Vladimir Klitschko was disarming him, forcing him to not throw punch and giving him a reason to hide behind that guard. He's not going to have that luxury with Wilder. So he's going to have to find a different way to do it. I think his mentality in trying to get in Wilder's head, say, I'm going to knock you out, is because he's trying to create chaos.
Yeah.
Because in chaos is where Tyson Fury does his best work.
Yeah, because as you said, Mo, he hadn't really talked this week a lot, you know, after all the crazy crazy promotion that he did. But then yesterday he didn't show up to the fighter meeting to speak to us, and then on the stage he was the only one talking. He was yelling. I think he's trying to create the chaos, as Brian is saying, trying to have Deontay come undone a little bit. In the words of Duran. Yeah. But you know, I think Deontay played it very well. I think he really played it very well. He just gave him no emotion today and let him go home with that and let him say, okay, Tyson has to now go home and say, my opponent's focused.
Well,
okay, it's time to get focused.
And you say Tyson has to go home back to the UK. It looks like he's in home field advantage here, and that's saying something too. Where he went to Germany, dethroned Klitschko, limiting Klitschko to his worst offensive output ever, 52 punches. Klitschko landed in that 12-round fight where Fury bamboozled him. But now, for Deontay Wilder, here both of them getting their first crack at pay-per-view. Wilder, to me, has done everything he has been asked to do in becoming the man in the heavyweight division here in America. Undefeated, the highest knockout percentage of any legitimate title holder in history. 39 knockouts in 40 fights. He's knocked out everyone he has faced. But yet on Saturday night, he has to continue to answer questions. We know that against Luis Ortiz, where he also survived the biggest crisis, I thought, of his career, didn't he answer a lot of those questions, Brian, about overcoming adversity, showing heart, punch resistance? And, man, he has the great equalizer here in Los Angeles where the stars shine. That right hand could be the biggest star of the night.
You know, it's insane. Everything you just said. 40 fights into his career, 7 title defenses. He's still fighting like a guy who's never fought anybody, never beaten anybody. That mentality, because the critics get to him. They pile on. But I think it's the critics that create this anger inside of him. I think he channels that in the right way. He may have been up there on the podium without that eyes wide shut mask he likes to wear. Maybe it was a little bit from the Mad Max collection. But I love that demeanor up there. I don't know how much you can play into the talking game ahead of a fight, Paul. You would know better than me. But I thought maybe Wilder lost Wednesday's press conference. Maybe for the first time Fury got him out of his shell, got in his head. That look that you saw Wilder behind that mask today. Talk does not matter anymore. Yeah. It's about what happens in that ring.
And he told us in the fighter meeting, Paulie, that you know, Fury can talk about getting inside Wilder's head. Wilder said, no chance. There is no chance that he is in my head. And, in fact, he's going to see just how much he's not in his head on Saturday night.
Yeah, and again, I at first I was questioning that because we did see Wilder kind of go above and beyond, looking like he was emotionally a little bit of a wreck. But, again, like Brian was saying today, it was just I think something where he had total emotional control, you know. And I thought Tyson kept trying to goad him, and it was Tyson almost like losing his mind, trying to get a reaction. It looked like a skit out of WWF or WWE, you know, where he's kind of pointing at him and yelling louder and louder, and Deontay didn't flinch. So I think the time for the talk is over now, and I think Deontay certainly knows it. I think Tyson's going to go back to his wherever he's staying, and he's going to know it as well. And now it's time to throw it down.
So talk about the game plan, the keys to victory as they were, Brian, for Saturday night. I'll get Deontay Wilder from you. Let's go with you and Tyson Fury. Is it what we saw against Klitschko?
It is to a degree. Look, there's differences obviously between Klitschko and Wilder. And Deontay said it himself. I ain't no Klitschko. I'm not the same guy. Wilder's going to be more active than a Klitschko, not willing to hide behind a guard and be fearful of his chin. He also doesn't have the same craft and technique. It's a different fight. Paul, you laid out ahead of this fight really strongly that Wilder does his best work. For all we know of these helicopter punches he throws, when he's poised, sets his feet and throws those counter right hands. We talked about Fury needing to create chaos. Wilder can land some of these wild helicopter shots, but there's not a lot of power on them. Fury's best chance, obviously, is going to have the gas tank to go 12 rounds. He's going to have to constantly be moving and constantly try to change the direction, change the pace. But he's also got to keep this fight as wacky and wild, in my opinion, as possible, because if you allow Wilder to become the sharpshooter, inevitably you're going to slow down, you're going to be a sitting duck.
And we know that Tyson Fury will not be a sitting duck. This guy is going to be using all of the real estate of the ring Saturday night to avoid Deontay Wilder. How does Wilder find him?
Well, you know, it's funny because when you're boxing and when you're learning to box, you know, a lot of times your trainer will tell you the best way to deal with an awkward fighter, at least the way I was always taught, the best way to deal with an awkward fighter is keep it fundamentally sound. Don't try to be over creative. Don't try to create too many things and look for too many crazy big shots. Just be fundamentally sound and the shots will open up for you. And what I mean by fundamentally sound is just work behind the jab. Let Fury use that movement and whatnot. Keep working behind the jab. Let Fury discombobulate himself behind the movement. Keep your jab pumping. Eventually, if that jab is pumping and it's working, you know, you'll find the opening for the right hand, or you'll keep the jab pumping, and Fury will make a mistake because of it. Because Fury's the one that's got to try a little bit harder. He's got to make the movement a little bit more discombobulated, a little bit more awkward. He needs you to fall into those traps. If Deontay has the fundamentals, maybe he's not great all the time fundamentally, but one fundamental punch he has is a great jab, you know, and that's a big fundamental punch. And I think if it's consistent behind the jab and is feinting with it, using it correctly, doubling it when he needs to, feinting with it, and using that as his range finder, I think he can eventually create enough of a mistake in Fury to where he can land a big shot himself or start to find Fury more and more often as the fight progresses. I think you got to be fundamentally sound with dealing with an awkward guy. And Fury's certainly an awkward guy.
And there's a certain danger here, I think, in Fury's game. We saw Wilder against Ortiz. When that fight was stopped, I had Ortiz comfortably ahead. The judges disagreed. So I think what's on Fury here is to not just be a spoiler, not just be a guy who's constantly creating chaos. You're going to have to land some punches in there. And we're already talking about that Fury's got to toe that line of danger, go right up to the fire for 12 rounds. He may have to go even more than he wants to, because if you don't land anything of significance, you're not going to give those judges a reason to give it to you.
And Brian, that's a great point. You know, the judges had Ortiz, I think, more ahead than maybe he should have. Wilder ahead, more ahead than he should have been, or if he was at all. Also, there was a controversy at the beginning of the 8th round with the Wilder-Ortiz fight. I think one thing it starts to make you think is, does Fury have to get a knockout? Does Fury have to go above and beyond? You know, we always think about the guys go to Germany and getting robbed. That's always the stereotype in boxing. Going to Germany, you go there and you get robbed unless you do something magnificent. Yet Fury was able to get a decision in Germany. You know, I'm not saying that now he's definitively going to get robbed here, but it's something to keep in mind if this fight goes a distance and Fury, you know, is looked at as being the guy that won.
Maybe that's where Freddie Roach plays a key part.
I was going to bring up, I mean, well, what about the corner? We got Ben Davison, a neophyte at 26 years of age, who, you know, hopes to accomplish what Sean McVay's been doing here in Los Angeles with the Rams, youngest coach of the NFL. But honestly, he's got Ricky Hatton in his corner. He's got now Freddie Roach. You talk about chaos. Could there be chaos in that corner?
Well, it was the great American poet Paul Malignaggi who once said, "Don't be bragging about taking my side piece. You hope there's no chaos in there. You hope everybody gets along." Hey, Roy Jones.
Everybody gets a piece.
Yeah, Roy Jones Tarver 3. Roy brought his dad back to the corner. That created chaos. You never know when you mix that up like that.
What do you think about that corner that Fury has for the fight?
I think if everybody plays their part, you know, and it's not an ego trip in the corner, you know, because I think everybody has to be on board. The most important guy in the corner in the fight is the fighter himself. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to the corner, it's not about any individual trainer and how much they want to shine. I never could stand trainers that want to take the shine more or look at the fight night as their shine. They get credit on account of the fighter, and they deserve the credit they get, but the shine goes on the fighter because he's the one risking everything. And so I think if everybody's playing their part correctly and nobody's bragging about taking any side pieces, so to speak, you know, it's where, you know, you're allowing the fighter to get his shine. You're not looking to get your piece, and this trainer's not looking to get his piece and whatnot. In the end, if there's success, everybody gets credit. Yep. Because, you know, everybody loves winners, you know, so it's not about the show in the corner. And I think these guys in the corner, I think at this point they know all about that, and they've had the training camp, and they know how to approach it at this point.
Obviously, Anthony Joshua waits in the wings. It's been well documented, the failed contract negotiations between Joshua and Wilder. Joshua says he's returning in April. We have Luis Ortiz in the co-feature, who's his second fight since losing against Deontay Wilder. Obviously, he is auditioning perhaps here in Hollywood to face the winner of the main event. He wants a rematch against Deontay Wilder. Do you think that Luis Ortiz will put himself in position to get that rematch Saturday night? The overwhelming favorite over Travis Kaufman, but where do you see Ortiz fitting into the heavyweight picture right now?
I think he hasn't really left. This is just one loss against Wilder in a fight I thought he was winning at the time of the stoppage. He nearly had Wilder knocked down and out there in that big round, but I think when you're talking about Ortiz, yes, he's 39 years old. We know heavyweights mature late, though. He still has, arguably, the best and most dangerous combination of knowledge, power, craft, speed.
Best counter puncher in the heavyweight division?
That we've seen here, certainly. And he's still in this. He's a big player. He gets a win over Kaufman, who, if you saw at Thursday's undercard press conference, really ran his mouth. Might be the kind that might not be able to cash that check. We'll find out on Saturday night. Be careful what you ask for, but that should be an exciting fight. Ortiz will be right back in the mix, hoping to get the winner.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's just you have to look at the result first. I think we're at fight week, and I think Ortiz has played his part in the heavyweight division, and he's looked kind of the boogeyman of the division. I want to see how he looks tomorrow night, and I want to see how Kaufman looks tomorrow night, and I want to see if he does beat Kaufman, how he does it. It's not about the result all the time. It's also about how you achieve that result.
Tyson Fury spent some time up in Big Bear, California. Finished up camp at Freddie Roach's Wild Card Gym. One of his sparring partners in Big Bear, Joe Joyce, Olympic silver medalist, who many people felt should have won the gold. Tony Yoka getting the gold, but 33 years of age, being fast-tracked, 6-0, 6 knockouts. He's opening the pay-per-view, and again, it's a big night for the heavyweight division. Talk about Joyce's prospects when he takes on Joe Hanks.
Well, he's got an opportunity, pardon the pun here, to prove he's no ordinary Joe, and I don't think he is. 6'6", he can punch, just 6 fights like you mentioned, but this guy, the Juggernaut, hungry. Loves the rounds he put in with Tyson Fury in the lead up to this camp. He's already talking about some of those names we just did, like Joshua. I don't know if he's ready for a title shot tomorrow. Certainly it's still early, but you're seeing a new trend in boxing, Paulie. A lot of these Ukrainians, right? They don't need 25, 30 fights to get into the title picture, right? It can be a lot less. Joe, 6 fights in, wants to do big things. You got to get past there on the opening bout Saturday night first.
Yeah, and I think this also has to do with the fact that amateur boxing is now starting to take a professional look to it. You know, the way they're scoring it, the way they're allowing the fights to happen. So I think fighters with a lot of amateur experience are now turning pro, more ready for the pro ranks than they were in the past. And I think that's why you see these Eastern Europeans with a million amateur fights already ready to go for title shots very early, and Joe Joyce being an Olympic silver medalist as well. You know.
So again, the death of the heavyweight division has been greatly exaggerated, my friends. 3 heavyweight tilts coming your way on pay-per-view Saturday night. And again, it's the pay-per-view debut for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, both looking to make a big impression, of course, wanting to make bigger paydays down the line. Now, also on Saturday night, the return of Jarrett Hurd, and wow, what a talent. Consensus #1 at 154 pounds. Actually had a rotator cuff injury going into the fight against Erislandy Lara, which, by the way, many people, yours truly included, still right up there as a leading contender for Fight of the Year when he knocked off Lara. Before that, first person to stop Austin Trout, won the title over Tony Harrison. Now, people are saying, who's Jason Wellborn getting the opportunity against Jarrett Hurd? Well, Wellborn, a guy who was a British middleweight champion, 2 back-to-back Fight of the Year candidates across the pond, getting this opportunity for the simple reason that Hurd said, hey, guys, I have faced a murderer's row. I'm taking an optional defense, want to check out my arm, make sure it's in full effect. And Wellborn is a guy who's going to bring the fight to Jarrett Hurd. What's impressed you the most about Swift Jarrett Hurd?
It's the hunger. It's that, look, sometimes he gets mislabeled as a lunch pail guy who just tries to walk through you and walk you down. But he's adding a lot of craft to his game, and he's becoming a sneaky breakout star with that Lara fight. Maybe a sneaky Fight of the Year contender, and maybe, guys, Jarrett Hurd, a sneaky Fighter of the Year contender, a guy that's blossomed at the right time. Trying to find out, though, is he just a guy who can collect titles, or is he the man at a refurbished 154 division? This fight is important to show that the shoulder's back, all is good, but the road leads to Jermell Charlo, maybe. He talked about it on Thursday. He wants that. I think we all want that. This would be a nice appetizer.
Of course, later this month, Charlo will face Tony Harrison, whom Hurd beat for the title. Talk about the rise of Jarrett Hurd, Pauline. What impresses you the most about the 154-pound unified champ?
You know, it's the mental stability. It's the unorthodox way he fights. You know, he sets up this right-hand uppercut. Has been very dangerous. We've seen him used in several fights from the outside. He's got a weirdly long arms. He's a weirdly big guy, yet he makes his weight very rather easily. You know, so he must be. I'm not a scientist, but he must be thin-boned or whatnot. Good power. You know, I think his best asset is the way he breaks you down mentally. You know, and I think one of his most underrated asset is actually his defense. Yeah, people think he just takes all these punches, but he's not. He's taking a lot off the punches. A lot of times he just doesn't want to give up ground, so he's trying to make you mentally break by keeping in the pocket, keeping in that position where you're in danger. And when he's throwing the shots at you, yeah, some of the times they're landing, but they're not all landing as cleanly as you like them to. So they're not having enough effect on him to prevent him from continuously being in your face, breaking you, throwing, and landing shots that are hurtful. You know, I think this fight with Jason Wellborn is interesting because Wellborn is also a guy who comes to fight. You know, people say, oh, who is this guy Wellborn and what is her doing fighting him? Well, he's coming off an injury, number one. And number two, you should be worrying about, as a fan, being entertained. And I think this fight stylistically entertains. Wellborn comes to fight. He doesn't take a backward step. Jarrett Hurd loves to come forward and bring the fight. And I think whatever happens in this fight, it's an entertaining fight, and that's what counts most.
Well, and Brian, final words here from both you guys regarding the main event, because obviously entertainment is the name of the game. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Interesting ingredients where we know many people believe if Fury's to be successful, the answer, are you entertained? Are you not entertained? Will be no, but
look, I don't care if Fury has a couple rounds where he's stinking out the fight. The drama of knowing that it could turn at any time with one big right hand is going to keep you suspenseful on the edge of your seat. But can we take a moment and just appreciate what we have here? We all lived through the Klitschko heavyweight era, right?
Yeah.
From the moment Lennox Lewis retired in 2004 through, I don't know, Fury upsetting Klitschko 3 years ago. That was a long, dark, cold, lonely heavyweight winter. 10 years ago, to think we could get a fight this good, 2 unbeatens with so much at stake, fellas, it would have all been just a dream. We would have been stuck reading Ring Magazine, Ruslan Chagaev and Sultan Ibragimov up in the limousine. But no, we got this fight right here. Savor the flavor. Oh, wow.
If you don't know, now you know. Hey, Paulie, your last thoughts on the main event. Very well done, BC.
You know, everybody keeps asking me all week, who's going to win, Paulie, who's going to win? And when I tell them I don't know, they get mad at me as if, like, I'm picking the other guy that maybe they want me to say. And like, they say, no, well, you can tell me who you want. I really don't know. I really think so many possibilities could be in this fight, and that's why I think it's such a good fight. You know, you could have a first-round knockout for Deontay Wilder. You could have a stinkfest Tyson Fury decision win. You could have a great fight in between all that in terms of different things happening. You could have guys getting up off the canvas and winning by knockout as well. I mean, there's so much possibilities, and you wouldn't be wrong to think any of those could happen. So my opinion is just as good as anybody else's. Steve Cunningham dropped Tyson Fury before Fury fought the Klitschko fight. Did anybody see Fury doing that to Klitschko, having seen Steve Cunningham, an ex-cruiserweight champion, dropping Fury the way he did? So Fury's completely unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get. With Wilder, you don't know what you're going to get as well, because he can knock you out as well as get himself clipped in his wild ways. It's a great fight, and I just hope that in hindsight, when everything's 2020, people don't become know-it-alls, because remember, before this fight, it was very hard to pick the winner.
And of course, through Tyson Fury's fall from grace, has become an ambassador for mental health, something very near and dear to me, and I don't think it can be overstated. What he's had to endure to get to Saturday night is unlike anything I have seen in sports. Yes, Muhammad Ali was off for 3 years. Look at what George Foreman was able to do coming back. But what Tyson Fury went through after supposed to be enjoying the halcyon days of his career is incredible, and we'll see if he can answer the biggest test.
I'll just say one thing about Tyson Fury. If there's anyone in this division who can disarm Deontay Wilder and survive 36 minutes and win and look good doing so and upset the apple cart one more time, it's Tyson Fury. 3 years to the week of his upset of Klitschko, and I don't know what, 23 years to the week of Rocky Balboa upsetting Ivan Drago in 1985, Rocky IV. I'm just saying, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, Deontay Wilder, of course, 40-0, 39 knockouts, and we are getting set for Saturday night on Showtime pay-per-view. It is going to be a quartet of fisticuffs coming your way, 3 heavyweight bouts, of course, and a 154-pound title fight, the return of Jarrett Hurd, but it is all about undefeated WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder in the 8th defense of his title against the returning Tyson Fury, who is 27-0, 19 knockouts. Will he prove to be